All right, so again, thank you very much. Domain 4, communication network security. We started last time in April, and we found out we need more time. So I will start very quick with the wireless security stuff. But before I start, let's do 2 or 3 general words. Number one, this is not, for those of you who know this, I mentioned it before, this is not a product or vendor-specific presentation. Yes, there is nothing I did copy-paste from vendors. So we have a shiny, nice little presentation with lots of animation and stuff like this. So I did it on my own, weekend and evening. So it is really a presentation from a chapter member to you, to the other chapter member. So therefore, no products, competitive reviews or test scenarios. I really try to focus on the Wi-Fi stuff. Second, what's the aim? Why did I choose this topic? In the CBK of the CISP, there was just 2 pages mentioned Wi-Fi. And with Wi-Fi covering everything, every aspect, you've got Wi-Fi at home, you have Wi-Fi in hotspots, in hotels, everything. So I think it's a topic which should be more addressed, and we should cover more in detail. So I will really start to give you an overview. For those of you who are master in pen testing and have an expert in Kali Linux, please forgive me. I will not go into that level. Maybe for part 3 or 5 or 6 or whatsoever. But right now I will cover the general concept and the general threats and attacks what we see right now, and how to protect and how to hardening against this. I will rush through the first 20 slides until we hit the Wi-Fi security session. Just as a reminder for those of you who went through this is just, okay, yes, I heard about this. For those not of you, okay, sorry about this, but we will really focusing today on the Wi-Fi security aspect rather on the Wi-Fi technology or the standards behind this. So I really like to go through this. We started last time with the physical and network, what is the radio transmission and receiving technology. We talked about the electromagnetic radiation spectrum, which I think it's one of the most phenomenal natural phenomenon we discovered on Earth. I mean, with the radio spectrum we are talking about in this mobile and wireless data device up to the high frequency level. And I mentioned it's always fascinating. Our eyes are nothing else than radio receivers. Yeah, the light is nothing else than electromagnetic spectrum, but with a higher frequency. But it's very, very interesting to see what we can do in the next couple of 100 years. So we can plug in an eye receiver for a wireless LAN and we can see wireless LAN. So very, very interesting stuff. And we can spend days or nights talking about this. But I really want to rush through this. Basically, Wi-Fi, or we call it WLAN in German, you will see this impression, is a RF radio frequency technology. We need modulation and bandwidth. We talked about this different kind of amplitude, frequency, and phase shift keying, which has been used by the starting technology, the starting standards of this Wi-Fi stuff. We spent a little bit time about OFDM, which is multiplexing modulation technology, talked a little bit about the mathematical background. And for those of you who really understand the next standards, especially 5G, they're using OFDM as a basic technology, and there will be advanced standards available soon. So if you were interested and you have to, you want to go deeper into this, spend your time in understanding in detail the OFDM technology. History of Wi-Fi, I really rushed through. Developed or introduced in 1997. We talked about we spent a little bit time about how 11N was introduced, especially with the new ways how to increase the bandwidth with multiple signals in the antenna way. We talked about AD, and finally we are not ending up, but these are the latest standards, the 11AC. And just very brand new, starting this year, the 11A6, also called Wi-Fi 6. So if you want to buy an clients or access points with the latest technology, look whether those components do support the 802.11ax standards or Wi-Fi 6. It's a Wi-Fi Alliance certified that these products can work in this. And very important, they are backwards compatible with older standards. We expect a lot of IoT applications based on this. So from the security point of view, this will be a very, very interesting standard. Now that we talked about Bluetooth, Zigbee, and WiMAX, we talked about the concept of 11W, which are introducing the so-called protected management frame. We talked about encrypted protected managed frame and non-encrypted, talked about how that works, get about spoofed, disconnect, DOS attacked. Finally, as a result, this is my last word on this. Look, when you have to plan or implement Wi-Fi, have a checklist that the PMFs, the protected management frames, are at least available, or supported. In general, I have to say honestly, also from Sophos hour, this is deactivated by default. So be aware, and this is my point here. Once you put any device, access point, or your clients at home, whatever, look into the in the setup, our PMF enable or not enable, or allowed or deactivated or not deactivated. Please check in that this is activated. Why we comes later on. So we talked also about the components and the topology, very easy, the network card, stations, access points, or Wi-Fi controller. What are these kind of basic service sets? In, I don't know, in 5 minutes, we spent a lot of time last time, about 45 or almost an hour about this. So now I really want to concentrate on the Wi-Fi security aspect. No surprise, biggest issue is, of course, it's no cable. It's an open radiation technology, so you could easy sniff. Yeah, this one only if you have got a weak signal or you are somehow protected by shielding mechanism. You simply cannot sniff. You will not receive any signal. There are some buildings, some office spaces or organization spaces, I think, and also in military areas, who are designed, of course, to tamper-proof, that they are not sending any signals out of those buildings. They have special metal shields in the windows, some special buildings around. So this is, to be honest, the only physical way how to protect a transmitting signal or a transmitting device in this Wi-Fi area. The first implementation of Wi-Fi, which was called Web Wired Equivalent Privacy, was more or less, I don't want to say a show, but it was a very weak security issue. It was a little bit like, okay, we have got something. Don't worry about this. This was 1997, 98 or something like this. So 97, it was ratified as a Wi-Fi security, but it uses a very, very weak RC4 cyber stream, which has been used in a simple exclusive ORA binary operation with a plain text. So I will show you later a web attack. So it's very, very, very easy to break web, and even with these two authentication methods you can use, I put in the way how you can authenticate with your access point. And you see you have an authentication request and replies with the clear text channels, and the user channeling to configuration the web key and send it back. It's very weak. You can easily crack this. And again, transmitting the secret key encrypted in the management frame. I don't know what was the rationale behind this. I looked, or I searched in the Google, in the internet, what was the reason. Yes, it was really like, okay, we have some kind of secret, and nobody understands how to sniff radiation packets, which was of course not true a couple of years later. I mean, Network General, for those of you who are longer in this industry, have very, very quickly designed a PC card-driven network interface, and with this one, you could easily sniff, like the network sniffer you had for Ethernet and token ring and all this other kind of protocols, we easily sniff with this stuff. So that was really not one. And the shared key concept, again, I'll show you later, is a very weak concept, easy to break, no science behind this. So my recommendation, and I'm still, when I look into the implementation of security and access points, and it doesn't matter which company you look in, there's still web available. Yes, of course, the backwards compatibilities, and I understand the older one. If you go into old logistics or transport area on the factory, you see very old access points, and they're still in use, and they use web. And I understand this, but if you are planning new stuff, never ever try to get into this web area. Please never use web. Again, the Wi-Fi guys, engineers were anything but stupid, and they understand, okay, this is a weak standard. So let's look into something different. And they invented this Wi-Fi protected access, WPA. It was introduced in 2003. There are two WPA modes available. One is for personal usage, mostly done by home use. If you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 clients connected to your Fritzbox, to your telecom, to your Cisco home router, Linksys one, small little one. And you have got the WPA Enterprise, I will cover later, so that you have a much better way how to authenticate the client to the network. So with the WPA Personal, you don't need an authentication server. You just use a passphrase of 8 to 63 ASCII character. It works quite easy. You have this access character, it's your password, hello, whatsoever. And this is then running through a so-called base word-based key derivation function, PBKDF2, to the passphrase. Then you have the SSID, and that will be sorted, that will be mixed or concatenated with 4,000 iteration of the HMAC. HMAC, I know it's a little bit crypto here. It is hash-based message authentication code, which is using to number one, make sure that the integrity of the data which has been hashed is ensured, and that the authenticity of this data is also ensured. So that was at least a much better way how to encrypt the data, how to encrypt the authentication process, how to encrypt the passphrase to the password. This was a good step away from the wired equivalent privacy standard we discussed before. Again, there are a couple of versions of WPA. They introduced the TKIP, a temporal key integrity protocol. They have an additional message integrity check called Michael. They have a key mixing portion of this. In the second version, they implementing IES-based encryption mode with this counter mode cipher block changing. And in the W3, they introduce the enterprise mode again with AES 256 in the Golers counter mode. And they replace the pre-shake keying exchange with technology called SRE, which stands for simultaneous authentication of equals. This is an exchange, a secret exchange key mechanism, morely based on Diffie-Hellman. So if you are aware of the PKE of asymmetric cryptographic, how to secretly exchange keys without sending the key, this is the technology or the functionality behind this SRE. So they improved a lot of stuff into this area. I know that's a lot of cryptographic here. Again, Bruce or whoever is in, if there is a demand of, let's say, crypto in a nutshell in this area for 1 hour, I'm happy to prepare an additional presentation where we can discover or cover all those different technologies. But in this case, I really have to go further in this, otherwise we will really lose time. So with the WPA Enterprise, this was the second, I mentioned it was a WPA Personal and the WPA Enterprise. They are designed to using authentication mechanism like radios. Yeah? And in this area, the normal protocol you are using are the so-called extensible authentication protocol, the AEP. And there are a numerous number of EAP methods available. We have got ELTLS, Transport Layer Security, the lightweight extensible authentication protocol introduced by Cisco, or the IK version 2, which is also a way how with certificates you can exchange those messages. There's also technology which has been in this 802.1x, this Wi-Fi protected setup, VPS. Again, it looks fine. You just have to press WPS button on your router, for example, on your Fritzbox or on any kind of device you have got, and they automatically connect via a pin you bring in, but it is a very, very weak, or they haven't got a security hole in this pin recovery mechanism. So again, for you and for us, don't use WPS. In this table, I have mentioned the classical ERP enterprise modes you could use if you are implement this in an enterprise, in an organization, in a factory, in a military area. As far as I understand, and I asked consultants or a guy who is more in this area, said, well, most of his clients, banking, retail customer, they're using the EAP TLS, especially if they already have got a PKA available, and if they have already certificates, client certificates available, they will using this to have a better access or most protected access of their clients to the network. If you are a Cisco shop, Meraki, this ERP fast, as far as I understand, is a very good, a robust protocol. I think it stands for, yeah, I don't know, whatever flexible or whatever authentication, then it's a secure tunneling protocol. So again, out of this slides, don't use ERP MD5. There are other methods available. The general, what is absolutely fine for all of them, if you have a PKA, is a TLS one. If you run a Cisco shop, ERP fast. Now I want to look into these attack vectors, threats and vulnerabilities. to show you some weakness of the protocols or where to attack a Wi-Fi network. We call it traditional RF attacks, radio frequency attacks. Again, it's an open environment. It's a radiation technology, so you can easily jam. This is the word or the expression to this. Jam an existing radio transmission receiving connection. I mean, jamming in military, I think it's normal. If you have got airplanes flying over a battlefield, you of course want to jam the enemy radio communication. So this is absolutely normal. And here you can do this as well, but be aware, if you do this, it is highly illegal. If you do a pen test and you want to find out, get an official an approval from the legal department, not from the CEO, not from the general, not from the CISO. It must be the legal department. It is illegal. However, I found there's a Chinese shop. You can buy jammer devices, and they have some funny enough, some reference story about a professor or a teacher who are using this stuff for the students, that they do not use their mobile phone anymore. So again, you can buy it, but please don't use it unless it is authorized. What we also have, this kind of mobility attack, what we in general call it war driving. War driving is nothing else as a form of reconnaissance. Usually you can just travel around the town, industry plants. If I carrying, unless I know when I go to click the barracks, okay, I have to sign a special way. But if you go somewhere in a plant and you carry a rucksack with all this equipment, it is allowed. That is no laws that specifically prohibit or allow or whatever with war driving. It is nothing else like receiving signals from television or radio broadcast station. If you like, you could do this kind of stuff. What you hear is Kismet or Kismek. So these are already well known in this pen testing or hacker community, well-known tools you can use to simply gather information of hotspots, of stations, of NICs who are sending or sending Wi-Fi signals. Another form is war biking. War biking has the advantage that you have got, again, your pack on your back, and you can travel around the town in a very short time. While in a car, when you have got your laptop, you either have got an external antenna, or you're sitting in a car. That means you're sitting in a Faraday cage. Yeah. So if you want to receive a lot of information about a town or whatsoever, then war biking is the name of the game. And a colleague of mine actually did this in San Francisco, in London, and in Sydney. And if you like, you can just click on this video, and then you will see a short clip about the results of this war biking. Another attack vectors, in general said, the Wi-Fi is basically nothing else just another OSI layer 1 and layer 2 technology. So every kind of attack, every kind of how to get access to your network or data for TCP/IP and layer above still remains. So it's still vulnerable to denial of service, spoofing MAC addresses, malware, ransom attack, APTs, rootkits, remote administration tools, keyloggers, and social engineering. So when we look into the attack vectors, we specify trivial and so-called non-trivial attacks. A trivial attack is you have got an open Wi-Fi, you have got Wi-Fi without actively sending SSID or with MAC filters. These are easily to detect, and MAC filters are also easy to crack. You can actually change your MAC address, you're listening a little bit and then change it. It's very, very trivial attacks. Non-trivial are really how to break into a WPA protected network. What about rogue access points you can place in? Then we have got the evil twin attacks, which I think it's the most easiest way, but the most effective way to get contact or to get access to your internal network. And we have a short look into crack. However, I would like to go a little bit now. This is try to be a little bit deeper into how to crack, for example, a web or the web protocol. And I would like to have a deeper look with you into this detail. So web attack. The point is how to get the web attack, the web key, excuse me, via the access point.
Oh, I love it.
Sorry? Okay, thanks. Basically, what you need is a so-called IV, the initialization vector. This initialization vector will be concatenated with the web key and will form the so-called key stream. How it works comes later. The point is the implementations in the clients and in the access points, they try to avoid the same initialization vector within a Wi-Fi network. But if you have got hundreds of thousands, there comes the law of the great numbers, hundreds of thousands, connect, disconnect, connect, disconnect, repetition. From the implementation point of view, a so-called IV collision could occur. So the same IV, which should be completely avoided, will occur. So once you have got this point, you can easily crack encrypted messages, and how it works I'll show you later on. So what we need is a collision, so an identical initialization vector. It is sometimes provoked as well. You can passively listening hundreds of stations during a long time of period. This is in a passive listening way, so no intrusion detection will find out something is going on. Or you actively start a so-called ARP replay attack by using MAC spoofing later. Some wireless intrusion detection system will recognize this. In this case, they try to block this. As wireless intrusion systems are not everywhere commonly used or in place or configured, it's a good chance to using the replay attack to find or to get those collisions and then to find out basically the web key. So how does it work? Let's go through a theoretical example. Sometimes it's good to see, okay, what's going on in the bits and bytes, and this is quite interesting and show a little bit magic of binary mathematics. So very easy. If you have got clear text 1, you see these 0 1s and the zeros here, and you exclusive OR this with this key stream. Exclusive OR means that every different bit here results in a 1, and the same bits 0 or 1s results in a 0. So if you do an exclusive order for, let's say, first clear text, and you have a different clear text with the same key stream which you used, and you exclusive OR those secret text and exclusive OR the clear text, you will find out that the same value will go for the secret text and the clear text. So in other words, assume that the clear text 1 and both key streams are known. So the results, the XOR screen we had, 0, 0, this 1, 0, 10 before. And you XOR with the clear text, you get the second clear text. So if a clear text plus key stream equals the secret text, then the clear text and the secret text will reside in the key stream. Yeah. So it's for us then that this kind of technique with this exclusive operation is already known as a known plain text attack. It will also happen in other areas of crypto attacks, but this is very easy now to implement because the general technique is you need a Wi-Fi hacking tool like Kismet or Aircrack. And Aircrack is part of the Kali Linux one. I'm just putting in a Kali Linux stuff. So hopefully next time I will show you that in real life. Maybe when we are together in the little Italy, so that I've got a little bit more computers around. So the target is to find a clear text. So how to accomplish? Sending targeted packets to access point and forcing the access point to respond. Hey, give me yours. Give me. Or passive listening to standard procedures like the classical TCP/IP handshake protocol. In this case, we're using, or what is recommended, that we try to gather as much as possible packets, like say 100,000, 200,000 packets. Better more, it depends on the traffic volume and the time you have got. A good PC one with a little bit power in there is not bad. You have got the replay command here, which you can start the ARP replay attack. Then you have got a program called Aircrack. They're reading the packets and counting the IVs, and they're searching the IVs on collision. And after a while, this one provides a web key. It is, sorry about this, I should have shown you this because it's very easy and that does not require in-depth mathematical knowledge or super hacking power to it. Is very, very easy to stuff what you can do. And this is a framework. You can do it at your home. It is a general easy way how to use it with Kali Linux, and it shows how weak this web is implemented and how easy it is to crack. So non-trivial attack vectors are again this Wi-Fi protected access 1 to 3, rogue access points, the evil twin attacks, and the crack. Again, if you want to crack WPA, it is when correctly implemented, very secure. So WPA 3 network to crack is you need sophisticated skill, especially if you use the IES encryption scheme. Unless so far with 256-bit, it is right now even theoretical unbreakable. Unless post-quantum cryptoanalysis will work, and I hope to get guys who are researching post-quantum cryptoanalysis or cryptography. I hope to get one of those guys in the next couple of months into a lunch and learn session, because I think this is a very interesting topic, and I'm very interested in this area, and I think you guys are. And Bruce, we talked about this. I'm still hammering these guys. They should give me 2 or 3 times when we could do this. I think post-quantum cryptography will change a lot of things. But again, right now, IES encryption is not breakable right now. So using WPA is very, very difficult. So how you can use it, or how can you break? Well, to find weak pre-shared keys, find out that these pre-shared keys are weak, that you don't have standard password. Of course, if you have got access to this with standard password, or you find out there is WPS vulnerabilities, that's much easier to crack. Otherwise, only way to find is dictionary attack. There are dictionary attack also with rainbow tables. Rainbow tables are hash words for passwords, and they are also with salted hash words. I think the biggest one I saw is 160 gigabyte. So I would say if time is not that many, time means not years or whatsoever, but let's say 2 or 3 days, You can download this huge big dictionary, whatever library, and then to start a dictionary attack on a WPA one. Otherwise, it's difficult to crack. Then we have got one attack vector is the rogue APS. Again, nightmare of any security administrator or IT security manager. It's basically a hidden, or we call it a shadow IT problem. Yeah. While you are in a secure environment with thousands of firewalls, but if you bring in your smartphone, you do tethering, you have connection to your LTE, to 4G networks, and you simply start your own little access point for whatever reason. So again, classic firewalls or web proxies fails complete because it's not in their control chain. You can try to get Wi-Fi IDSs, maybe Zeams and endpoints. Endpoints, next generation endpoint means, okay, I have now access to an access point which are not authorized, that I have connection to the internet. So then you have a chance to detect it. Otherwise, very difficult. Yeah. Again, in pen test scenario, because then if you have got a rogue access point, you cannot find out what is the SSID strength and so on. What other things go on. So in a good penetration test scenario, you can use rogue access points. But again, if you do this, I saw a legal. There was a US and a UA court. There was one guy who was doing this, preventing it, or saying, okay, this is a pen test, and it didn't work. And I got 4 or 5 years into jail. So therefore, my hint here, it is an act of espionage and cybercrime. So don't do it unless you have got authorization. Evil twin. This is, you simply says, oh, I'm the right authorized access point, like my hotel one has got, and this is very most common if you try to run a man-in-the-middle attack. Yeah, so an access point which pretend to be an authorized and correct one, and a client, innocent client will connect to them. Often happens in hotspots, bars, airports. Often they provide fake web GUIs. So, oh yes, it's the hotspot of this hotel. You get in. Oh yes, I've got the bank account. So you as a client, it's very difficult to distinguish between the correct or the other. Thank you. To the other. Or let's say authorized website. So very, very clever attack. As I said, you need a little bit of phishing, social engineering required, that this is the right one. Okay, I sent you the one. We have changed a little bit our website, but here you can type in your password, your passphrase, your credentials, yeah, and therefore you don't need a keylogger on your endpoint or on your mobile phone. It's simple here where you can grab all this information. If you want to do this, again, be careful. However, if you use Wi-Fi Fisher or Pfizer, I think Wi-Fi Pfizer is the right expression, you can run an evil twin with your own PC. Again, be careful about what you will do. I think for lab reasons or just to play around, it's fine. Unless you go outside and do the real world, then be careful about this. How to protect? Basically, only Wi-Fi IPS will little bit helps you that it will not happen if there's a rogue or an even twin, an unauthorized access point. And of course, running a client VPN. So every traffic going out is per se encrypted. So that a man in the middle, which is basically an evil twin, is a man in the middle attack, won't reveal any confidential information. Last one, as it's a crack. It's not that new, but it is little bit. It's a little bit nasty one. It's a so-called key reinstallation attack. It's a so-called a replay attack on WPA2. So WPA2, there was a vulnerability here, also documented in the CVE base. It's an vulnerability within the four-way handshake mechanism of the Wi-Fi protected 2 security protocol. There is maybe everyone is in fact affected, more or less. If you run Microsoft, you get the problem. You have the same issue with Linux. You have the same issue with Android, iOS, OpenBSD, and only way how to protect here is patches from vendors. Sometimes very seldom. Sometimes they said, oh, it's so rare, you need advanced cracking technology. We are using home use stuff. Nobody will do this. The implementation of the patch is very difficult. Again, look, if you are responsible for planning, implementing, running Wi-Fi networks, look into this crack stuff. This is, I think, a serious one, because if I run a target attack, a target that you are my target, I want, and I see, okay, you are W2, 3, I would try to run crack. There are also tools available who are specializing using this, again under Kali Linux. WPA 3, it's a better way because it replaces the pre-sheet key exchange with this SIE protocol. So if you have still WPA2, to avoid this is WPA 3. The question is, of course, whether those equipment still is capable to implement or to support the WPA protocol as a standard. So I think we have almost done. So I'm now in time, as I said. Let's say Wi-Fi, how to protect. There are some routes. Some of you say, okay, these are benign, these are trivial routes, but again, lots of those routes are still not in place. It's not for you maybe, but you can show, or you can gather them together and use them for your own work. So number one, it still happens. Standard passwords, standard SSID router passwords, admin, support, whatever. Once you got a machine here, just change the standard access password to those devices. Again, it is unbelievable how many attacks, how many disclosure of data could have been avoided by using strong passwords. It's old-fashioned. I'm sorry that I'm boring you with this one, but again, using strong passwords and using strong passwords privately as well, using password manager. At least no password I use is below 12 characters, and they're all ASCII characters, numbers, and normal alphanumeric numbers. There are a couple of rules how you create it on your own, on your mind. Please use them, and also convince your superiors, your boss, or whatever. Please use strong passwords. For authentication, no web 2, Web 2 or WPA 2 or WPA 3 is a must-have. Don't discard any other authentication. Deactivate WPS. Now you can argue, well, I'm at home. The next building is 20, 30 minutes away. There will nothing happen. Okay, for convenient reason, you can maybe do this, while even I've got here in my home, I have WPS disabled. And especially if you're in an enterprise area, you have to deactivate WPS. Again, enterprise environment, WPA 3. If it is possible, if you have got the manpower, if you have got the budget, let's say this way, use specialized Wi-Fi EDS and or IPS or intrusion detection system or intrusion prevention system. A couple of functionalities built in, either a Wi-Fi controller or also into next-gen firewall system. It doesn't matter which vendor. It is Cisco, it is Ubiquiti, it's Sophos, it's Aruba. They have such kind of intrusion detection systems, so please enable this. Or if they don't have it and you have older system, you have to run look for specialized Wi-Fi IDS vendors. So at least you have got an intrusion detection system available. Also, a good practice is multiple Wi-Fi networks. So you have got your own guest Wi-Fi, especially with vouchers available, one-time pads or one-time passwords. For a restricted time, you have conference room Wi-Fi, you have production Wi-Fi, you have got sales Wi-Fi, you have got marketing Wi-Fi. So these days, especially with the new protocols, you could have multiple Wi-Fi, multiple SSIDs, multiple VLANs, multiple zones. Use it. It's more they are separated, the less chance is to travel lateral movement of either an so-called a worm or a malware, or that a hacker could travel through the Wi-Fi network. So it's a good practice to use multiple Wi-Fi networks. Again, I mentioned it already. It's a good idea to use the protected management frames, the PMF checklist about your clients and access points. Maybe for home AFI, changing the PSK 1 to 4 times per year. I've got a huge PSK, but I change it at least 4 times. It is one time you do it and that's it. Yes, you have to set up your clients again. Yeah, but again, come on, guys, it's a 10-15 minutes work. It's worthwhile to do this at least 1 time a year. Better 4 times, and don't do it every quarter. Just do it on an irregular base to do this. Okay, if you have got a Wi-Fi, a firewall, basically all the DSL router or fiber router now we have got here for our home, they have got a firewall inbuilt with basic firewall features with routes. Please use them. Of course, in an enterprise environment, of course, you are using Wi-Fi networks separated by zones. You, of course, use your Cisco, Palo Alto, Fortinet, Sophos, name it, firewall for your Wi-Fi network as well. Yeah. And basically, okay, it's number 11, the last one, as we saw, whatever you try, you have got in Windows 10, you have got a Windows Mac enable. I've got OpenVPN, a NordVPN on my clients. It cost me $40 a year. I never try to get in plain text out of the world. It is easy to implement. The clients are available for Android, for Windows, for Linux. There is no excuse not to implement them. So, finish. Thank you very much for your attention. Stay happy and healthy. I put in some sources, some books I read in preparation for this. Again, the best one in the CISP area was this good old one from Sean Harris. I think she has about 30 pages. That was the best documented CISP book I see. Lots of links here. There are some online tutorials on the videos. Of course, if you type in 811W, you will see a whole bunch of this. Maybe this is a selection you can use. Again, thank you very much for your attention and for your time being here. And if we have a little bit time for FAQs, I will give back control to Bruce.
So thank you very much, Ingo. That was really a great presentation. There were some comments there in the chat session while you were talking. I did copy them down. Yep, there's somebody now voting for the quantum cryptography session. So if you can get your contacts there flogged a little bit, I think that'd be another great presentation.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah, a great presentation. Let me just kind of recap the comments that I got down from Sergeant LeBlanc. Eat fast, flexible authentication via secure tunneling.
Thank you very much.
Doug was asking, is there a commercial device you can buy to direction find jamming or interference so you can try to figure out which it is? And Richard came back with a good link on that. And he also noted that for war driving, there are Raspberry Pis that have a game feature, except they're looking to crack passwords. And then comments on the weapon insecure WAP hashes. So I'll forward these to you, and we can also get them posted along with the presentation.
Okay.
So,
ich habe ein bisschen Nachforschung gemacht. Ich bin mit SANS auch verbunden. So for everyone else that speaks English, is like I've done a little bit of research. I'm also with SANS, so I get a lot of information from the Internet Storm Center, and I get daily emails and whatnot. Some of the stuff that I find interesting is obviously more geared towards pen testing, and the Ponagachi that I was talking about is basically something that's a self-build that people have, especially Black Hatters and the people that go to the Black Hat conferences, that they have actually literally for open source given out to the public, and you can make your own with. Yes. So yeah, I'm just trying to sit there and bring something to the table as well. Ich danke dir, Ingo. Das ist eigentlich wirklich informativ, und ich finde, das ist sehr überraschend manchmal, weil das ist so, dass nicht alles, das ich höre, ist so in diese Richtung geeignet, meine ich.
Ja, du meinst, ja, ich bin vollkommen bei dir. Da ist auch Marketing, bla bla. Sorry, guys, so it's a lot of marketing stuff around, and therefore sometimes it's just make your Wi-Fi network so easy. Just do it. It's easy to implement. Guys, everyone is using Wi-Fi, and nobody is using the security mechanism behind this. I mean, it's unbelievable. And again, in the CISP, it's just 1-2 pages for this. How huge? I mean, I don't know anybody who's using not Wi-Fi. I don't know anybody. My kids are using, my boss, everyone is using Wi-Fi everywhere. Yeah, and so little security, or just so innocent. I don't know, or not educated. Put in this way. And I think we have to. I try to get into the school to try to are your Wi-Fi connections secure. You talk about Teams is not secure, data leakage and all this kind of. Okay, wait. This is level 7. Let's go to level 1, 2. You have got secure access points.
Yeah, we got to. Basically, education of the people involved is probably the best thing that you can do. Like I have my in-laws who are German, and they have absolutely no knowledge about Wi-Fi. They're like, Rick, go handle that. And so
exactly, you are the expert. No, I'm not the expert. Just I'm dealing a little bit with this. I'm looking, and this is normal. And your firewalls, your DSL router, they are quite powerful. I mean, I'm really astonished what even the Fritzbox. I mean, it's not comparable to a Cisco, of course, but they could provide some basic good wireless. They have got WPA 3 involved. They have got strong pass. They even have, if you have type in a weak password, they will not accept it. So you can use, but of course for convenience, WPS, let's go ahead. Everything is fine. No, it's easy. And as you, and I'm in my neighborhood. When I looked, I have a little bit here reconnaissance done. There are so many open, easy crackable Wi-Fi networks. It's unbelievable. So I will try to get some look, guys. I'm not a bragger. Oh, I'm the good guy and you have no idea. That's the wrong, completely wrong way. Just talk to this guy. Say, okay, are you aware about your open Wi-Fi networks? Look, I've seen this by chance. Yeah, let's try to fix it. Yeah, and in the and we talk in our we are talking in our daily business with clients, customer in the public sector environment. No idea what's going on. Oh, I think that is it's the same security like Ethernet. No, it's a radius. It's a frequent. It's by nature you can sniff it easily. So there's a lot of, again, and I don't want to suppress the other. I think there's other comments. Richard, I think you also put in some. I see some PKI electronic com. Well. The JAMA detector. Okay, I got it. Okay. By cut off website, advertise, great. Okay. Okay. Quantum cryptography is something you are interested in, and I could try to force the guys that they will spend an hour for us here in the lunch and learn session to tell us the latest developing or the latest stuff in this post-quantum or in the quantum cryptography. Yeah. So I take it as an order from you. Okay. Anything else? So it's 4 minutes past 1. Bruce, are you fine so far that we can finish the session?
Yeah, I think that was a really good session, and thanks for all the comments and the post presentation chats there. This has been a really interesting session. And yes, if you can go flog your colleagues about the post-quantum cryptography, I think that has always been something we've been looking forward to.
Okay.
So with that, I'll go ahead and terminate this session and let everybody get back to the workday. Thank you for everyone who attended. This has been a really great presentation.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you for your patience and for your time attending this presentation. Thank you very much.
And good day to everyone.
You too. Stay healthy. Bye then.
Tschüss.
Tschüss.